It is said that Wolfage's ghost recklessly drives his two-horse coach around this village green and vanishes just before it crashes into those stone gateposts behind me. Although they've changed since then, because Orlingbury Hall, which was built in 1700, was on top of an old 10th century manor house called Beaver Manor. And it's Beaver Manor that is behind this legendary tale. In the mid-16th century, it was home to the Lane family, owned by an ageing Sir William Lane, until his death in 1546, which is where a middle-aged alcoholic named Lord Wolfage comes into the story. Previously, Beaver Manor was owned by Lord Thomas Wolfage, but he lost it whilst incredibly drunk, playing poker with an equally incredibly drunk Sir William Lane on New Year's Eve in 1537. The following morning, Lord Wolfage was furious, having realised the gravity of his reckless gambling, and being rudely woken by a screaming wife, two very shouty 20-something sons, kitchen staff, a gardener, and then being dragged out of his bed by Sir William's so-called removal man and forcibly removed from the premises in his nightshirt. When Sir William heard about this, he thought it was hilarious. You see, old Sir William and Lord Wolfage never did get on. And finally, Sir William was one up on the notorious Lord Wolfage. But Sir William started to feel a little bit concerned about his homelessness. Well, having been thrown out of one manor, only having to move in one of his many other manors and estates around the county. Nevertheless, Sir William sent a message out to Lord Wolfage to redeem himself and returned to Beaver Manor, to the drawing room, where Sir William was going to offer him a wager. You see, Beaver Manor had been in Lord Wolfage's family for a little over 600 years, and to lose it in a poker game was embarrassing, to say the least. So whilst both of them were incredibly drunk once again, Sir William picked up a coin from the drinks table and waved it in front of Lord Wolfage's face and said, "Upon the toss of this coin, if you win, Beaver Manor will come back to you and your precious family upon my death. Should you lose, however, your businesses, your estates, and your farms shall come to me." And without warning, Sir William tossed the coin in the air and shouted, "Call!" Well, Lord Wolfage choked on his mouthful of port, and without having a chance to mull it over, shouted, "Heads!" And Sir William went to catch the coin, but missed it. And it landed on the table. And as it spun round, it fell off the table and onto the floorboards. And the pair of them were jostling each other, trying to see which way it's going to land. And it seemed to take an age, but eventually it came to a stop and landed on one side. And it was heads. Lord Wolfage couldn't believe his luck. He was running around, shouting, cheering, punching the air. And without looking back, he grabbed a bottle of port from the drinks table and shouted out, "Hurry up and die, Lane," as he walked out the building. Sir William just looked stunned, not really knowing what was going on because he was that drunk. He just stared at the coin, shrugged his shoulders, grabbed his port, drunk it down in one, and just carried on drinking.
Fast forward 9 years, 31st of October 1546. Lord Wolfage was at a party at Harrowden Hall in Great Harrowden, just a few miles down the road, when he heard the news that Sir William had died earlier in the day. After knocking off his driver from the drive plate and almost wheel spinning his 2-horse powered coach down the gravel driveway, a very drunk, of course, Lord Wolfage galloped his way to Orlingbury at night with only the moonlight in between cloud cover for guidance. Of course, with the lack of light and a mad drunk in charge of a coach and horses thundering down Harrowden Road, it was bound to end in tears. As he thundered through Orlingbury village, clearly ignoring a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, he pulled on the reins to make a sharp left turn to go through the gates of Beaver Manor, then realised they were shut. Too late. He was already in the middle of an oversteer and heading straight towards one of the stone pillars. The side of the coach smashed into the pillar, catapulting Lord Wolfage off the coach drive plate and over the gate straight into the trunk of a conker tree. Miraculously, the 2 horses were unharmed, with only a little bruising. The coach, however, was an insurance write-off, completely smashed into smithereens. As for Lord Wolfage, he was killed instantly after hitting the conker tree.
The following morning, the carnage was cleared away and the scratch on one of the posts was repaired. And Ralph, the eldest son of Sir William, who inherited Beaver Manor, he never realised about the stupid bet between his father and Lord Wolfage. But Lord Wolfage, he never forgot, and on the 31st of October every year, his ghost is seen thundering down the streets of Orlingbury, past the green, and vanishes just before he crashes into the posts of what was Beaver Manor. Legend has it that the ghost of the last wolf haunts this same green in Orlingbury, Northamptonshire, and it was killed by a guy called Jack Paston, who lived in a village that is no longer here. He's one of those that disappeared during the plague, called Bad Saddle, which was literally half a mile up the road. Jack, a 24-year-old farm labourer, was walking home from his mates on the 31st of October 1479, and as he was walking across the green, he noticed in front of him, which was down Bad Saddle Lane, which is now Red House Road, something coming towards him. It didn't seem right. As he got closer, he could see it was a wolf. He went for his knife, but it was missing from the scabbard that was tied around his waist, and then he remembered he left it at home to sharpen, ready for work the next morning. What's he going to do? So he's thinking, okay, maybe I can outrun it. No, not a wolf. Maybe if I climb over the walls of Beaver Manor over the gate, because the trees that are around this green, they weren't there back then. I said, no, can't do that. And by now, the wolf was only about 10 yards away from him. And as he was trying to contemplate what he was going to do, the wolf launched itself up in the air and went for his throat. Well, the only thing that he could do was put his arms up to protect himself. But Jack, well, he had 2 things going for him. A, he was 6'4". B, he was 20 stone and built like a brick shithouse. So as the wolf grabbed his arm, he pulled it away and literally threw it onto the ground, winding it. And as it was trying to recover from being winded, he literally just fell on it, onto his head with his elbow, virtually knocking it out. And he straddled it, grabbed both front arms, and then pulled them down to the ground as hard as he could. In doing so, what he'd done, broken the ribs of the wolf and crushed its heart. The wolf was now dead. Jack couldn't believe what he'd done. If I killed a wolf? Yes, Jack, you did. not only a wolf, the last wolf in England. But he didn't know that. So he stood up and he went to the brook to clean himself up, to wash the blood away from his arm. And then he drank some of the ice cold water. And as he was walking back towards the green, he felt a bit faint. And he thought, no, I'm going to have to sit down. And he could see the wolf still lying down. So he went up to the wolf, kicked it to make sure it was dead. And it was. And he sat down beside it to get his breath back. Feeling a little better, he stood up and he was going to walk down Bad Saddle Lane and go home. Then he started feeling a bit funny again. So he sat down and thought, no, I'm just going to wait a little bit longer. And instead of getting up, he fell back next to the wolf and laid down and died. As it turned out, it was the icy cold water that shocked him. Funny enough though, it's his spirit that doesn't come back. It's the wolf that returns on the 31st of October. And it's said that if you see it walking across the green and it catches your eye, it's going to go for your throat. That's walking around the green. There's a bit of traffic. Gotta be quiet though. Oh no, Lord Wolfage, yet. No wolf yet, very quiet. No, nothing from the hole. That's the road that the wolf should come down. And then he approaches him right about here. Well, two for the price of one, my arse. Turn that off, right. Let's sit down. Oh no. Let's sit down here. What do they say in my crew? Oh no, I'm not going to go out there. There's a wolf going to get you. Really? Oh, I feel a little queer. No. Nothing. Lord Wolfage, Lord Wolfage, are you here? Cars about, vans about. There's no coaches that are crashing into the gate. More cars, look. Oh, nice gear change. Seriously? Did anyone sleep around here? I'll wander up here then. Too bright. Don't wander around here. Around here. That's a nice little seat. There's loads of benches around here. I'll wait for a bus. Don't wait for a bus, I'll wait for a coach. I don't know about Irish cows. It's all like in here, folks. Served by community transport. No. Nothing yet. More cars though. Okay. Roger, it's well lit round here. For a quintessential English village, with a village green in the middle of nowhere. Hey, bloody busy. The traffic. And it's very well lit. I'm not so sure they're coming out to play today. Hang on. What's that? What is that? Can you hear it? What's that coming? There's someone coming up there. Yeah, maybe it's my imagination. Well, folks, I don't think anything's going to come out to play today. Certainly not this evening. So, no, I thought I heard something then. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And from me, that wolf, nice doggy, it's Cherry, and